You are the seller in the first contract, and you are the buyer in the second contract. So the first contract, this is the one that goes to court, and we start executing all of the conditions that we put in there. And the bets, this one here, the second one, you buying it back, really for the 2 years, it goes on your bedside table or inside the bedside table, just to give you some peace of mind, because it states in the Section 10 of the Land Titles Act, a signed contract from the owner on title is as good as the deed. And guys, we really don't want that your house, no offense or anything. We are just actually, working it so we can buy it and sell it to an investor who is willing to execute a second contract with you if you do not miss payments for 2 years. Okay? But the main purpose of this slide is to see that this first contract goes to the court. This second contract, you buying it back for 2 years, goes at your bedside table to give you some peace of mind that you have, uh, you know, reason to be in that home and proof to be in that home. And again, we're not looking for you to, for your home. Our objective is met. Well, our objective was truly the conversation. The conversation now, okay? And what was the conversation? You asked us, hey, if you can buy and sell my home back to me or let me rent, that would be great because my kids don't have to be displaced from school and these type of things. And we say, yeah, sure, we'll do it, but under certain conditions. And of course, you were smart enough to ask. And one of the main conditions is if you do miss a payment, guys, so you have to really make sure these investors, remember, they're not the ones meeting you and these type of things. They're the ones just putting up the money. So you're faceless to them. And if you do miss if you do miss a payment, we have seen people have to leave in 15 days. Okay, so but again, on the positive note, we've seen many people succeed in this situation now. Now, guys, you are the seller. The objective leads to the solution, right? And the solution is truly the conversation, which is you get to stay in your home and that type of thing. Now, if you do not want to stay in the home, keep in mind, that means the second contract does not apply and you're free to move. No problem, okay? So that would mean the first contract's written the exact same way. But the second contract where it says that you get to stay and that sort of thing, well, you told us, no, I'm just moving. Well, this would be X'd out and the second contract would just not exist, okay? How do we transfer title? It's very simple. In the first contract, we place in there that we will be completing transfer of title. And we have to do the fact is the courts have sent you a statement of claim that says either sell the home or pay out the mortgage. Well, selling the home means that you would have transferred ownership. And, and of course we show up to show them that we have the money to pay out the mortgage. Then all paperwork goes to land titles. So once and they really follow their due diligence down at land titles and they register the new owner. So they're going to make sure that you have a witness and they're going to make sure that, it's notarized or commissionered. So these type of things, they do the due diligence, not us. So they make sure that the title gets transferred. The numbered company that bought your home should have all the liability now that they're on title and taking responsibility for paying out the mortgage and completing the deal. Now keep in mind, CMHC at this point, you would be able to tell them, well, I sold the home, and as we request the mortgage note and they have to prove the loan, you'll see how you'd have an interesting situation when bringing it to court with CMHC. And we'll show you how to do all that, okay? You did what the courts asked you to do. You sold the home, so you should feel relieved and success because you sold the home. That's what they asked you to do. But you did not have to move because if you want to stay, we'll show you how we can do a rental or you can buy back the home. So this is great news. So the homeowner succeeds, and yes, have a party, go out and celebrate. All the, worry of not being able to sell your home is now done. We together now would have to get our due process from the court. And we would want you to be staying in the home and us completing the deal with transferring the funds. So we'd have to be united in court together to get our due process, for sure. And yeah, you stay in the home. That means you stay in the home because we had a rental agreement or a buyback agreement, and we did everything right down to titles, and we would go together down to court and do a due process. Now, if you're actually scared to go to court, we have found a service that will actually go down there for you. You stay in the home. That is the most important part. What is the original note, guys? Here is some stuff you have to understand about the deal because we're now mentioning the original note, and we're going to be bringing this original note to court and asking for it. Sorry, at least the question, where is it? So let's find out what is the original note. The original note is the original debt that you signed at the lawyer's office when signing a mortgage. Okay? When you signed the mortgage at the lawyer's office, they kept the original note and sent it to the bank. They told you that you will get your copies, photocopies of the note, in about 4 to 6 weeks. But here's the keys and here's the house, and most of us are, that's fine with me. But this time we're going to keep an eye on the ace. And what the original note is, the original signature that you signed, your original ink. That's what you're allowed to sell. The bank executives receive the original mortgage note and verifies that it is original ink. Then he refers to the Bank Act where it states that if you are a financial institution as defined in the Bank Act, you can sell the debt to the world market. So I mean, it's pretty common knowledge these days that they're selling debt, and really debt is the signature. Okay, so here's the bank manager and executive doing what he's supposed to do, and he does sell it, and it does say in the Bank Act they're allowed to sell it if you are defined as a financial institution within the Bank Act. If they sold the original mortgage note, what do they get back in return? Well, they would get back money because if you sell something in a capitalist world, which we live in, that would mean by definition you receive money back. Now, guys, let's go back to, let's say, year 2007, and we're again in Calgary, Alberta, where everybody, it was a boom. So here is the foreclosure people 5 years ago. It's 2012 right now. Going to the lawyer's office, they signed the mortgage, and the original mortgage note was sent to the bank. Now, the bank either retained it as an asset or they sold it. If the bank sold it to the world market, there's the mortgage note in the world market's hands and possession. And look at what the world market would send back the bank, money. So let's say 5 years, the owner, they go into foreclosure, hit on hard times. Let's assume they do not ask the right questions. What happens? What would happen if you're in foreclosure and you're not asking the right questions now? The bank would take the house. If the bank takes the house and are allowed to sell the mortgage, well, let's see here. If the bank takes the house and we're allowed to sell the mortgage, how many times did the bank get paid? And the answer is twice. So this is very interesting. If you don't ask the right questions, the bank will get paid twice. Okay, guys, now here's another thing. What is conveyance? The swap, the exchange. Through conveyance conditions, okay? So what is conveyance? Conveyancing is just a fancy word for the swap of money to whatever's changing hands, property or the asset, okay? And of course, through conveyance conditions. You just don't hand over money to somebody and hope they send you something. It's conveyance conditions that you are really completing the conveyancing through. It is conditions such as, okay, well, you put the money into a lawyer's trust account and these type of conditions.